Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be doing a review of my Michael Kors Selma handbag. The reason I'm doing this review now is because I've actually sold this bag and it's being picked up in 2 days on Saturday. So if you've been following on my channel, you would know that I'm actually going through a process to simplify and declutter many of the things that I own. And this bag was on the list of things I wanted to declutter, but I've been having second thoughts about it for the last couple of days. But after thinking through it and holding true to the principles of really simplifying the choices in my life and keeping on to things that I love, I feel more confident now that I'm ready to let it go. So let me start off with a quick review of the handbag, and then I'll go through the thought process that I went through in finally being able to accept that I'm about to let this go. So here is the dust bag for the Michael Kors Selma handbag that I have. And a bit of background is I actually bought this handbag at the flagship store in Sydney when Michael Kors first came to Australia. And this bag does hold some sentimental value because at the time it was one of the most expensive bags I purchased. So this was about, I think it was almost 300, if not a little bit over 300 Australian dollars for this bag. And I'd seen it on a couple of ladies before, and so I knew that I wanted it. So this is the bag that I got, and this color is actually one that you will not be able to find in stores anymore. So I think this Selma medium-sized bag, they do sell it in some stores, but you will not be able to find this blue color. And it's got really beautiful gold hardware, and I think this shape is very classic, and the leather is very durable. It's got that scratch resistant texture to it, and just overall it's a beautiful bag. But so here's the story. Since I purchased this about maybe 8 years ago now, I've probably used this no more than 10 times. And the main reason that I haven't used it is because I'm scared of it wearing. So that might sound a little bit strange, but if you've seen this bag on other people, or if you've thought about purchasing it, you may have noticed that there are some people that carry this bag, and you'll notice right away that it does lose its shape. It starts to cave in the middle here and here. And the more you wear it, the more you can see the caving, and that look of that worn kind of Selma bag really turned me off. So as a result, I actually avoided using the bag because I wanted to maintain its really pristine condition, because I think that's how this bag particularly looks its best. Because it's structured, it looks good when it keeps its structure. When it loses its shape, it just looks like a low quality bag, or I don't know, like it's not meant to look like a casual kind of slouchy bag. So it just looks really worn. And I want to use this 10 times, and you can see it's slight bending in its shape already. And I take care of my things, so I was starting to get really worried about that. So I immediately kind of started storing it away. And the reason that this bag loses its shape is mainly because of the ability to wear this on your shoulder and crossbody. So it comes with a strap. So I'll show you the strap. It does come with this beautiful leather strap, which is really good quality and very adjustable. So it's got a few adjustment holes here. And because of the way that it's actually built, I'll show you. This is a very honest review. I do love this bag, but just I think the way it's structured, the way that it's built doesn't keep its structure. You can see here that the way that the handles or the strap is connected to the bag is similar to, let's say, the Alma, where it's across the bag. So one's on the right side and one on the left. So that in itself pulls the bag in a weird position, weird direction, where it shifts the left and right side in opposite directions. And I think because this bag is, if you notice, it's quite wide and not quite tall, it's wideness and its size doesn't lend itself to this kind of tension. And although it's a structured bag, I have to say it's not as structured as it should be, because once it starts to do that, you then start to lose its shape. Now, I have another bag, which I'll show you in a second, which is also similar, which is another reason I'm happy to let this one go. But you'll see that the the leather is much harder and thicker. And I think that's because that's the only way it's going to maintain its shape. So although first impressions when I got this bag is it's great quality, the leather is really nice, you can immediately tell that it's too soft for the actual, I guess, intention of the design. So that makes me a little bit sad, but I realized taking it out more recently now that even holding it, it's starting to bend, and you might be okay with that. Like if you're okay with that, you know, that's fine, but I personally don't think that look goes well with this shape. So through thinking about all the reasons why I stopped wearing it, I really think it was time for me to let it go, because I was just gonna keep it in the cupboard, and the longer that I held on to it, the more chances it was gonna get, you know, kind of deformed. And if that was the case, it was probably gonna sell at a much lower price point. So I did sell this under $100, which is quite a low price point, but I do believe that if I hold on to it any longer, it's going to be worth less and less. I do not believe that Michael Kors handbags will hold their value primarily because of their wear and tear. And people might say that, you know, the wear and tear of these is not bad. I would agree if you're talking about wear and tear in terms of stitching, hardware, you know, it looks mint. But if you have a Michael Kors and you have something like this kind of bag, tell me in the comments below if you've noticed that the shape does change and it just loses its structure a bit. In that case, I think it just doesn't look as good. So to me, that's significant wear and tear of a bag that I keep in very good condition. I don't throw it around. I don't wear it too much as a crossbody, you know, and still it's still changing its shape ever so slightly. So what was the turning point to make me kind of comfortable that I was selling it this weekend was I compared it to another handbag that I have. So I'll do that quickly. So if you are looking for a more rough leather or a structured handbag that will hold its shape, this is one that I actually can recommend. So I'll just take it out of its dust bag. This is a Tory Burch handbag, and I'm not really sure of the name, but it's in that Robinson leather, which is very similar to the Michael Kors leather. It's grained finish. This bag, if you look at it, is quite similar to this. Now, why I like this one much better, and I've actually used this one much more, is this is very wide. And once you use it, you'll know. The sides knock on things. It doesn't sit nicely on the body, and it just looks a little wide for its height. Whereas this one is the same height, because it's got the sides going in, it's much more narrow. You'll find it doesn't knock on things and doesn't feel as bulky. And I don't know if other people who have the Michael Kors feel the same way. It can feel a little bit bulky, but this one doesn't. And it also has beautiful hardware. The finishing is very much similar, but the bag itself is far more structured. And as you can see, it also comes with a crossbody or shoulder strap. The hooks for that, or the clasps for that, are on the side, evenly spread, and I think that will definitely help it hold its shape. So if it was on the side, I can see it already bending, but it's not. So the moment I took this bag out and compared it with my Michael Kors, I knew immediately I was ready to let the Michael Kors go. For me, I didn't really want to have too many of the same bags in my closet and just underuse, you know, my collection. So if I have this one, which I know I've been using, I use it for work. It's very convenient. It's very similar to the Michael Kors. I think it's a little bit more expensive. I think maybe this is closer to $500. But I think the quality for me, it's much better because I don't feel like it's going to get deformed or lose its shape. I feel honestly more confident in carrying this one around and not being worried that it's going to wear. So yeah, and Tory Burch, similar to Michael Kors, I don't believe it's going to hold its price, but And I think in Australia as well, like it's harder to resell because Tory Burch is not as popular as it is in the States. But for me, I was never planning to resell this bag, and I don't plan to resell it. So for me, that's fine. But whereas the Michael Kors, I knew that eventually I was gonna let it go. So yeah, I just hope this video, shed some light on, going through a decision process about how to let things go, and how sometimes it's not easy, but if you're thinking about it, take the item out, compare it with other things that you have, ask yourself why you haven't used it, and if it's worth keeping around longer if you're not using it, especially if it's not going to hold its value. So I have other bags which I also don't use, but for example, I have a classic Chanel handbag. It's like a bucket bag with the patent CC on the front and the pink interior. That one's very rare. You cannot find it anymore, and it's in pristine condition. That bag I never used for the same reasons. I don't want it to lose its shape, but I do know that it will hold its value, whereas the Michael Kors one will not. So I'm ready to let it go. I still think it's a beautiful bag. Like, I think this blue with the brown trimming is very hard to find. This color it's a very glamorous and beautiful color, but I'm ready to say goodbye. Will I miss it? Maybe, but will I regret it? I don't think so. I'm sure whoever is purchasing this will enjoy it much more than I will. So yeah, it's been tough, but this is just a really real video of the struggles that people go through when trying to declutter things. And I wanted to share that with you because it's not as easy, and it's an ongoing process. But at the end of this, I think it will definitely, help me just keep the things that I love and realize that more is not necessarily better, and be a better decision maker when it comes to my things. I've typically have been a very indecisive shopper, and I want to eliminate that because it's time consuming, it's costly, and it doesn't really help me develop as a person in terms of choice making. So yeah, I hope this video kind of helps someone, or that you can relate to this. So I'm really thankful if you've watched this. So thank you very much. And leave some comments below if you have similar thoughts or comments about the Michael Kors bag. And yeah, I look forward to doing more videos like this with you. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day. Bye.